with Franco?
So far, we didn't get any update. If you can check again, please.
Okay, yeah, I will. Yes, I will. I will.
Because he told me
Okay,
that
good.
they need like to keep one license or something. Otherwise, uh, they need to delete the VCT Omni DXP. So I asked him like if possible to keep one for now, for us,
Right,
maybe for
right.
testing or training, and also to not delete the Omni DXP VCT because
Exactly.
they have some testing, some development did. While we
Okay,
can apply the other two license for production on Omni DXP.
okay, good, good. Okay, let me accept more half. Okay, so we're here. Okay, so in the chat, what I did, so we can start testing and playing today here. What I did is I created two users that are supervisor A, supervisor B, and then another two users, auditor A and auditor B. Okay. Okay, so you are able to accept if somebody else joins. That's great. So I don't have to switch screen. Hello, Kwei. I hope I'm telling your name correctly. And we're half. Good morning.
Hello. Hey.
Okay. Hello. Okay, what I was saying is, what I did is I provided four user IDs. I can create more after if you need more, but the idea is that you can log into this environment that I'm showing here. Let me just remove the other tabs in here so they don't bother. The idea is that you can use this same environment that I am using to show to you. So I will.
Something, Miriam?
Yes. Oh, I am not. I put. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Looks like I stopped presenting and I am recording. Yes. Okay. Okay. Basically, what I did is in the chat, I put four users, right? And I can create a few more. Basically, the idea is that you can access this environment, which is the environment that I am using. There's a lot of crap because this is a training environment, right? So people go ahead and, test stuff and then they delete it. But the idea is that you can access this one because in this one, you will be able to see transcriptions and you will be able to see how to create, for example, queries for an automated quality audit, right? What I did is I created two users, and let me show you that. When you create users, I think you already know this, but just to revise that step, when you create users, actually, the users will be assigned to a specific role. So basically, the first thing that you will have to do is you will have to create the roles that you need for your client's system, right? So there are some roles, as in any other inConcert tool. There are some roles that are provided by default, right? And those will be tagged as system roles. So in speech or speech analytics or the quality platform, they will have an administrator role, a business administrator role, a quality administrator, quality agent, and quality auditor. This one that is in here, I ask you not to use it for this environment, but because when you act as a business administrator, then you will not be able to switch back to another different role for yourself unless somebody in inConcert helps you do that, right? So that's one of the things that I wanted Sebastian to cover with you. So don't create any that is a business administrator for now. But these are the roles that you can get, right? And so the difference between one and the other, of course, are the permissions that they have. For example, let's suppose that you're going to create a user. If you want to create a user, you will put the name, the last name, the country, time zone, etc., etc. And then in here, you will have to say, okay, what is the role that you want to put? And let's suppose I think I put supervisor. I think I put the supervisor roles. Let me put example. Let me do this example. So that you can see something, just any example. Okay, so let's suppose that I create this one, right? Example, which I put as an administrator, right? If I want to see what that user can do, you will come here you will edit, right? So you will look for the user, you will edit that user, and sorry, forget about that. I wanted to show you this, and I went to the wrong screen. Basically, when you want to create a role, this is what I wanted to show. If you, for example, want to create an administrator role, but you want to suppress some of the permissions for that role. Like, for example, this guy that I created, administrator, which name was example. If you want to see all of the permissions that an administrator has, then you will come here to roles and you will see all of the permissions. I think you're used to see this in Connect, for example, when you see the permissions and the roles within inConnect, this works exactly the same. So you can enable and disable. So let's suppose that you want to create a new role that is administrator / limited, right? So you want to have an administrator, but you want to suppress some of the permissions. You will create this, you will pick up one of the system roles that you have, and then you will play within the different permissions, right? So basically what I did is I provided you with 2 administrator roles, user IDs, and then I created 2 quality auditor user IDs. And the reason why is because we are going to create a quality audit form, and then I want you to see how an auditor will receive that form to be evaluated, right? So last time that we met, what we saw is that we need to work on an evaluation plan for the auditor. Let's start with manual quality audits, right? So you need the auditor to receive the audits that they need to perform, right? So basically what you will have to do is you will have to create an evaluation format, right? And the evaluation format, you will have to tell this evaluation format what are the questions or what are the topics that the auditor will need to start working on. And so you will have to create that, right? So all of those topics, what we saw last session is that those topics are are designed by groups, right? So you have a group on or an area that you want to audit, and then probably that group will have a subgroup, and then the subgroup will have an ability, and the ability is what you have to audit as a quality auditor, right? So what I did for today, let me see if I have it here, exercise. Let me send these through the chat so we can work on this. This exercise.
Miriam, if you can share the users again, because
oh yeah, you don't see them?
We joined the chat after you sent, so
sure.
we can't see them. Yeah.
Sure. Just a second. Okay, let me close this. Otherwise, I can't share.
Or later on when you send the recordings, the same email.
No problem. I can copy and resend. Okay. You will see this. Basically, let me show you how to log in. Well, you know how to log in. You have to put your username, the username that I put here. So I have supervisor A, and then you have to put at WOMCall. WOMCall is the name of the VCC that I'm using for training, right? So you have ad.com after all of the user IDs, and then the password is inConcert, lower letter for all of them. So I created 2 supervisor, 2 auditors, but you can create, let's say if you're more, then you can create more users. And then what I will do is I will leave the users live for, let's say 1 month, 2 months. And then we will have to remove it because we need to keep the environment clean, okay? But I want to make sure that you have all of, time to practice and to review. Okay, so let me show you one exercise that we can do over here. And this is just for a manual audit, right? So we will start with a manual audit. Basically, what we want to do is we want to create an evaluation for an agent, right? And I will use a very generic use case, right? So I need to check that the agent introduces him or herself correctly with the full name, and last name, that they have to mention the company name, and that they ask, what they can do, for the client today. So for example, in this case, what I will say is that this would be the group, right? So this is a group that could be called agent introduction. I could organize this in two groups, right? Like introducing names and asking for something. So I could say, for example, agent introduction could be a group of things or a topic, right? Associate the word group with topic. I would have put topic instead of group or area or something like that. And then here I can put, for example, subgroup A, because it's introducing with last name and first name. And this could be also subgroup. This is absolutely arbitrary, right? I'm making this up, right? So this is also group A, because this is, saying a name and saying a name, the name of the company, the name of the agent. But the third one, which is what I can do for you today, is not saying any name. It's just asking politely, right? So I can say that this is subgroup B, for example, okay? Then after the introduction, I want to say, okay, I need to check that the agent has understood what the client said. So I want to request this agent to repeat what the customer said, so they confirm that they understood correctly, right? So the agent confirmed they understood the question before proceeding. So this could be a second group. Then there could be another group which is offering a solution to the client, and then another one which is closing the call, right? So this is just terminology, but the reason why I put this in this way is because every time that you meet with a client and that you have to help creating an evaluation format for them, they will not have these words, right? They will not have the word group, subgroup, ability, or whatever, right? So this is why it is important that when we practice, we get familiarized with, okay, I can have a group and perhaps I don't want a subgroup. For example, understanding confirmation. Let's say that this is the second group. Sorry about that. So I will not have a subgroup for that. It's just confirming that I understood the question, right? So in this case, I will have a group that is going to be called understanding confirmation, and then the subgroup is going to be understanding confirmation, which is exactly the same. And then the ability or the thing, the specific thing that I want to check as a quality auditor is the agent confirmed that they understood the question before proceeding. That is exactly what I need to audit, and that is what I need to score, right? So this is why I put, an example with a few things and then the other ones that are straightforward. So let's suppose that we want to create an audit form for an auditor to start working on this. All right. So let's put as an example, I'm going to, first of all, to create an evaluation format, right? Just remember that to create an evaluation format, you will have to start saying which are the groups and the abilities and the subgroups, right? So I will have to come here, put a name, a name of the format, etc. But when I come here, I will have to have the abilities and the groups and the subgroups already available, so I can add it to the evaluation format, right? So this is why what we are going to do is we are going to create groups first, subgroups after, and then the abilities at the end, okay? So I will create a group, and then just, just for us, I'm going to put a P. Just, this is just a P that is arbitrary for me to identify quickly the groups, okay? So the first group is going to be agent introduction. Agent introduction. This is going to be the first group. Then I'm going to create another one. This is why I clicked confirm and continue, right? So I'm going to put P/, and the second group is going to be understanding confirmation. Then the next one is going to be solution offering. And the other one is closing the call. Okay, good. So I already have the 4 groups that I wanted to have, but then for this group, okay, if I want to edit, the only thing that I will be able to edit is the name, right? So it's nothing else than that, okay? Okay, so I do have the 4 groups that I need and that I will have to put on the audit format, right? Remember that the format is like the script that the auditor is going to receive to start working on the audit. Then I will need to create subgroups. So let's suppose that I want to have a P, and then the first subgroup is spelling name of agent. And then the other one is spelling name of company. And for the next question, so in here, I do have different stuff, but for these other ones, I only have one thing that I have to do, right? So what I will do is I will use exactly the same name that I used for the groups. And I'll show you why you have to do that. I'll show you in a few seconds, okay? So I will use P understanding confirmation. Going to put SG, so I know that is a subgroup. What was the other one? Solution offering subgroup. And then the other one was closing the call. Subgroup. Okay. Okay, and then the third level of the tree is I have the group, I have the subgroup, and then I need to put the ability. The ability in here is the exact question or the exact element that the auditor, in this case, because it's a manual audit, that the auditor needs to check, right? So here is where we are going to put, for example, P. The agent stay full name and last name. I'm going to put the quest. Okay, sorry. This is not going to let me put. Remember that for titles, you will not be able to use special characters, etc., right? Okay, so the agent. Okay, agent states full name. This is one of the abilities, right? So basically, let me check something. Right. So you will have to create, let me put this by special characters or spaces are not allowed in here. I thought they had updated this because it's a little awkward. Okay, so you have to create the ability. You will put a name for that ability, and then in here in the detail, you will put exactly what the auditor needs to check, right? Remember that we saw that these could be, flagged as accepted, as not applicable. So depending on the audit, I didn't do any exercise for today where we have a question that is not applicable, but we can test it, of course, if you want. If we want to accept comments, if we want to degrade scorecard, et cetera, and then we can select if this ability will have a score or if it would be a yes or no, right? Passed or not passed, right? So I'm going to use the quantitative, which is assigning a score. And then I'm going to leave this as manual in this tab. Then we're going to see what happens if you do the other. But for this exercise, let's use manual and then let's put confirm. So that was the first question and so on. We need to go ahead and do the other questions, right? So, and this is agent actions company name. So we'll put this. Sorry about that. I never get used to this. And then the other one is going to be what I can do for you today. asking what they today. And then the day confirm understanding confirmation. Sorry, I know this is boring to see, but this is just to create one exercise and then can start working right away. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, and then solution offering. Offering. Oof. Space, I know. Solution offering. I think I downsized the screen, right? I hope you're seeing it correctly. And then closing the call. Closing call and before ending the interaction. Okay, good. So this is just a very, very, very simple example of quality audit, okay? So what we did is we created groups, and that is basically each of the topics: introduction, confirmation, solution offering, closing the call. We created subgroups when applicable, and then we created the abilities, which are the specific thing that the auditor will need to audit, okay? So we already have all of those questions and sub-questions, et cetera, so we need to go ahead and create the evaluation format or the scripting, okay? So we're going to do this, create an evaluation format, and we're going to put agents attention. Let's put P here so I can identify this one, okay? So we are starting to create that, and the client is going to tell us, okay, these, for this to be accepted, I want to put it as 75 score as the minimum acceptance percentage, right? It could be 75 or it could be any that the client says. This is exactly what the client will say. If you put enabled, what will happen is that this evaluation format is going to be ready to be used. If you disable it, it's just a draft that you can put there and then you can keep working later, okay? So this is what the enable is for. See that here we have the accumulated score, which is at 0 because we don't have any ability in this evaluation format. But as we go ahead and put the abilities, then this is going to start counting all of the percentage, and you will not be able to confirm this if you don't have 100 points to account for. Okay, so this is just what is going to tell you how you're doing on that. Okay. To create an evaluation format, let's suppose that you have created one in the past. You can use that one that you created in the past by clicking here and then start editing it, right? So you could, remove a question, add a question, change the scoring, whatever. So you can choose from any of the forms that you have created before, or you can create a free format, right? So for the exercise today, we're going to create a free one, a new one from scratch. And here is where we are going to say that this is going to be done by human auditors, right? If I put, I know, and we saw that before, right? This shouldn't say manual automatic. This should say automatic. They didn't fix it yet, but this is automatic. So manual is for human auditors. Automatic is for when you have some queries that you created for, to look for stuff automatically and flag as met, not met, pass, not pass. Or you can have a mixed one. A mixed one, what it will do is it will work automatic, right? It will have the queries, it will put pass, not pass, but it won't close the audit until the human auditor took a look at that and made comments and, approve that. So the mixed or the hybrid are the ones that, usually clients request for, because they want to audit a specific, a big amount of agents, or a big amount of interactions or calls or text or whatever. But they do want to go ahead and take a look, for example, for the new joiners or specific people with issues, or people who have to work on a performance improvement plan or whatever, right? So this is why we have the possibility to use the mixed or the hybrid format as well. We are going to work on a manual as of now. And in here, remember, this is just, if we were integrated with inConnect or with OCC, then the sample to use to be audited would be taken from this environment. But in this case, we are going to upload the interactions. So forget about that. What we are going to do now is to create the evaluation format. We need to put the abilities that the auditor needs to work on. So the first thing is adding a group, right? So you'll have to add the groups. So I'm going to look for the P/, and then let's put, for example, closing the call would be one group. And then the next one is going to be, okay, sorry, I thought it was going to be order. I thought it was going to be order, from the last to the first. This is why I put closing the call. Let me put the first one. Let's put agent introduction. The next one is going to be understanding confirmation. And the other one was solution offering. And then the last one was closing the call. Okay, so now I have here the groups that I want to work on, right? And do you see that these weights 0%, 0%, 0%, okay? Then I have to add a subgroup. See that I cannot go ahead and add an ability. I have to add a subgroup. And this is why when I had this situation, for example, understanding confirmation, I don't have any subgroup. So what I did is for subgroup, what I put is exactly the same name, understanding confirmation. Okay. So for agent introduction, I do have two subgroups, and one is P, spelling name of agent, do you see? And another one, which is P, spelling name of the company, okay? So I have an agent introduction, which is a group, and then I have two subgroups, right? Spelling name of the company, spelling name of the agent. And now I am able to add an ability, right? So this is why it is important that even when we don't have a subgroup, we really need to create one, because the abilities are associated with the subgroups, right? So you put the group, you put the subgroups, and then let me do the same. Let me do the same with the others, right? So the second group is understanding confirmation. And in here, you have understanding. Let me see, what name did I put? Understanding confirmation subgroup. And then for solution offering, exactly the same. Solution offering, and then closing the call. Okay, so how do our project team work on this, right? Because what I did in the beginning is I had created this exercise for you, right? So I put it in a paper and then I sent it to you. So there are two situations you will face with the clients, right? One is the client doesn't have any script. They just tell you what they want to do, right? If they don't have a script, usually what our team does is they go to an Excel sheet and then start working on, okay, let's say which are the areas that the client wants to audit, how we are going to organize that into groups, subgroups, and abilities, right? I did have an example that I wanted to share with you, but it was a huge file. It was in Spanish. So it was not going to be useful for you, but I can work on that and send it to you to translate it with the recordings. Basically, you will talk to your customer, and the customer will either have something like this or an Excel format or a sample of the audits that they do today manually, or you will have to create something like this, right? But basically what you will have to do is you will have to make sure that before you get into the system, you have the clear idea and the organization of what are the groups, what are the subgroups, and what are the abilities, and what is going to be the scoring classification. Is that going to be quantitative? Is going to be a yes, no? Does it allow a non-applicable? What are you going to do with that score, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. So far, what we've done is we put the questions over here. We put the groups and the subgroups, and now we have to put the abilities. See that still we are in 0. Do you see 0, 0, 0? To put the score in, what you have to do is to take a look at this, right? This icon, this hand with a heart, this is add the ability. So spelling name of the company, I'm going to put the ability over here. And then I don't remember if I put spell or let me look. Agent mentions company name. It was the first one. Okay. When you put the ability, take a look at this. You created an ability you stated before that is what it was going to account for quantitative format. So it's going to pick up some score. What's going to be the weighting of this, right? So let's make it easy for this exercise. We have 4 groups, so let's put 25 for each of them, right? 25. So this is going to weight to 12.5. Did you understand, right? So 1225, and then the other one is going to be 1225. So the first group is going to be 25%, and then 25%, 25, and 25, right? So that will make up for the total 100 scored because this is quantitative, okay? So I put 1225 and see what happens. You have here another field that is penalizes. What penalizes mean? Is there could be a question. So let's suppose that I have one of these abilities that is that the agent needs to confirm that the client accepts the terms and conditions, right? So let's suppose that we have a question like that. Instead of mentions company name, let's suppose that the question is, did the agent ask for confirmation from the client that they accept the terms and conditions, right? So if the agent doesn't do that, then that should penalize, right? That should penalize this audit. And what are the options for us to penalize? Is it doesn't penalize at all. It penalizes the group, right? The group of questions. So it removes, for example, if each of the groups weights 25, and this, let's suppose that it has 3 or 4 questions, but this only question is not met, it will penalize the full score of the group, even when the other questions are, or the abilities are met, right? So it could penalize the group, it could penalize only the subgroup, which is that specific point, or it could penalize the whole interaction, right? So all of the interaction, the 100% score is not met. So it gets 0 points because that question was so critical that it penalized all the interaction, okay? So in this case, we are not saying that there's anything that should penalize. So what I did is we have the group, we have the subgroup. Now we get to the ability level, which is what the auditor needs to take a look at. And so it's quantitative, it weights 12.5 and it doesn't penalize anything. And then I have to do exactly the same with the rest of the abilities. For example, spelling name of the agent. The name of the ability was the agent state's full name. The weight is going to be 12.5. It doesn't penalize. And then the same with the rest, right? For understanding confirmation. What they can do today. Okay, understanding. This one, confirm question is understood. This is going to weight 25. Solution offering, I have to add the ability. So solution offering, and then this weights 25. See how the score gets increased, right? And then let me just try to confirm so you can see what the error message is. if the total score is not 100%, you must save as disabled format. And this is the disabled format. So let's suppose that I didn't finish with this, or, I'm not sure that the weighting that I'm putting is correct. I can just disable, and then I will be able to save, but I won't be able to use this evaluation format until the total score is 100%. Okay. So I did this, and then I need to close on the last one, which is closing the call. Closing call, and the weighting is 25. Just let me tell you that you have to check, because it's not super intuitive, right? So when you create the ability, you have to click on weighting and penalize to start operating with that. There is not like like a tooltip or something, but it happened to me when I was learning, some time ago, that I didn't realize that I have to step in here and put the weighting, right? So this is why I wanted to do that live. Okay. So far, what we did is we put a name, we created this from scratch, we put a minimum acceptance mark, we have this enabled so we can start using it right away. We added the abilities by first going to the groups, then the subgroups, then the abilities. We put weighting on the abilities, and we specified if those abilities, if they are not met, do they penalize the interaction, the group, the subgroup, right? So that is what we did so far. We already have 100%. Do we want to have any additional field for this human auditor to put some stuff, right? So I didn't create any additional field for this particular exercise, but let me show you how it works. For additional fields, I will have to come here. And if I created any additional fields over here, I will be able to select them from here. So in the past, I created one that is called training, right? And so this is one that says, the agent needs training, and there will be something like, for you to fill in with information. So for this particular audit, I'm not going to put any additional field. And then it's just a matter of who, which are the signatures that are going to be present in the evaluation format. What does this mean? This means that you create this evaluation format as a supervisor, right? So you're the administrator of the quality team, or the supervisor of the quality team. You need to have all of these worked out by the quality auditors, right? The quality auditors, what they will get, let me confirm this. Let me just check the name. P agent's attention. Okay. You have this evaluation format. When you release this evaluation format for the auditors to start working, when they log into their environment, if they have an audit, a quality audit role, I created auditors roles for you. So let me show you which ones. So I created two that are supervisor A and supervisor B. Those guys will see exactly what I'm showing in the screen. But the auditor A and auditor B, when they get into the tool, we're going to see how that works, right? When they get into the tool, they will not see all of these options that you are seeing as supervisors, right? So your client will have a supervisor or an administrator, and they will have quality auditors. The quality auditors, they will only see up to audit and evaluation. They will not see anything else. And when they go to audit, they will come to the inbox, and in the inbox, they are going to see all of the audits that they have to work in, and they will go ahead and complete, okay? We're not yet there. What we did so far is we created the evaluation format. Now we need the sample of interactions to be evaluated by the auditors, right? So we already created the evaluation format, okay? Now let's go to evaluation plans. We have the script. We have the auditors waiting for the audits to be performed. So what we are going to do is we're going to create an assessment plan. How does this work with the clients? This is something that you will either help your client do, but mostly you will have to teach the client how to do this, right? So clients usually have weekly evaluation plans or monthly evaluation plans, right? Is rare that they have daily evaluation plans, right? But it could be. They might want to have an evaluation plan run at a daily basis. Basically, creating an evaluation plan is to say, I want to pick up this sample of interactions, and those could be voice interactions, text interactions, whatever they have in the contact center, whatever they want to have audited, right? The evaluation plan is to say, okay, I want to work on this sample that I will assign to these particular auditors. And the interactions are going to be from last week, from yesterday, from last month, whatever. And what I want the auditors to look at is what is in this evaluation format. Okay, so let's put that I have this PEEP, let's say monthly agent performance campaign queue, whatever, right? Okay, so first thing you have to say, you're creating an evaluation plan. This is going to be for human auditors, so you will have to use manual, right? Then we're going to do a second exercise for automatic. But if you click automatic, just for you to know, if you click automatic, see that this tab that I have here is finished. Whether if I click on manual, then I will be asked to select the auditors to work on this exercise, okay? And if I put mixed, I will also have the auditors in here because something is going to be audited automatically, but the auditors will be responsible to check, put comments, and then close the audit, okay? In this case, let's go with manual. I put a name. The name, you have to tell the client that the name has to be intuitive enough and not what I put here. And here is where you say which is the evaluation format that you're going to use. So the evaluation format that I want for this particular exercise is P, agent's attention. This is what brings all of the questions and all of the stuff and the scoring and blah, blah, blah. Then you have to give these auditors the deadline, right? The deadline by default, it comes from now to 1 week later, but you can come here and then you can just select what the deadline is. And let's talk about pre-configure available transcription and all that later when we take a look at automated stuff. Okay. Anyway, you have here all of the question marks for help. We're not going to use that right now. In environment, by default, is going to show up whatever the client has. If the client has a VCC integrated, it's going to be the VCC. If they don't, they will have whatever they are using. If it's an FTP or SFTP, or if it's a VCC. And then if in the case that we were using translation, so this is something that I think it shouldn't be mandatory if you're doing manual, but anyway, language for transcription, you have to select what's the language that you're going to use. We'll see what custom dictionary for transcription is, but not to distract you with this right now. We'll come back to this later, right? Okay, so basic information of the plan. Remember, we're working on the plan. Then interactions. Here is where we have to pick up the sample that is going to be audited, right? And so remember that there are two ways. Either you upload the files or you use whatever you have integrated or connected, the VCC or the FTP or the S3, right? If you have connected the VCC, then you will be able to search for the sample using all of these filters. Interaction type, if it's voice, if it's, I don't know, WhatsApp, whatever, right? So basically what I'm going to do here, and let's hope that it doesn't misbehave. Let me look for one that is the CSV. I don't remember which one this. Okay, this is not. Bear with me for a moment. Just a second. Oh, sorry. I was looking incorrectly. Audio, and I want this to be CSV. Okay, this one. So basically what I did is I dragged the CSV file with all of the metadata for the audios. And then you could have, well, this is another recurring case. Let's suppose that the client doesn't have any inConnect, right? So they have to upload a file with the metadata of all of those interactions, right? It could be that the client has many interactions there, but they want to filter from that file, they want to filter, right? So you can also use the filters if you uploaded data to filter, for example, by campaign, right? I don't have anything to filter here because they are just, this is a test file. So there are 4 or 5 interactions. I don't remember how many they are. They belong to the same campaign. But let's suppose that you have a client that has the file. They just downloaded all of the interactions. They have them in a CSV file, and they have many campaigns, many agents, etc., etc. You will be able to perform filters after you uploaded the data, right? So you have all of these filters that you can apply. And before you move to the next steps, you always have to remember to put filter, right? Interactions, no records found. Oh, sorry. I have to filter. This is by default filter by today's interactions. So I have to do this. Let's put 2024, something like that. Okay. What just happened is something that is very common to happen, unfortunately. So I wanted to remember this, right? So you put the sample over here, or if it's integrated, then you will have the sample. Make the filters that you want to make, and then click filter. If you don't see any interaction over here, then you will not be able to move on with the evaluation plan because there are no interactions to be evaluated, right? So that is one thing that you have to take a look at. There's another thing. This is being reviewed by support. You will see 0 sex over here. The 0 sex is an error. Is a UX error that is being reported, and it's being worked as we speak, right? So you see that there are 15 interactions. They are voice interactions, but you see 0 seconds here. Well, this is a UX error. So when you go to the data, it's not 0 seconds. It's more than that, but it's just showing 0. It had been fixed a few weeks ago, but now it's showing up again. What happens if your client has voice interactions, WhatsApp interactions, text interactions? You will be able to filter by interaction type, right? So let's suppose that you only want to evaluate the WhatsApp interactions. Then you will have the drop down, and then you will be able to pick up which is the channel that you want to have the auditors testing, right, and auditing. You will be able to filter by agent if the interactions have any tag, if the interactions have any supervisor, any campaign, and remember that you can also filter by incoming or outgoing, right? For inbound or outbound interactions, right? So initiated by the client or initiated by the agent. Okay. So content filter, we're not using this today, but what is this? Let's suppose that you want to filter, you want to audit, for example, the interactions that have your competitor's name within the interaction, right? So it has your competitor name mentioned. You can create a query. Previously, you can create a query to identify the interactions which have that mentioned, right? So you can do that. Or you can, for example, you can create a query, for example, there are many queries over here, right? And we'll see how to create queries. But you can create queries, for example, of interactions that had more than 60 seconds without any speak, any word, right? You can do that. So we are not going to do that for this exercise, but you can do that. And we can create an exercise to check on that. And lastly, since this is a manual evaluation, you have to select who are the auditors that are going to work on this, right? So check on these. This is showing only a 5 out of 16. So let me put this. And you can see all of the auditors here. And here you have the supervisor A, supervisor B, and you have auditor A and auditor B. So let me select these two auditors to be accountable for these audits that we have to perform, okay? I am picking all of these. Let me show only the auditors. I'm filtering here so I can see only the ones who have a profile of auditor, right? So I am going to select auditor A and auditor B and see that these guys have a shared modality for this audit, right? So I'm telling them to audit the 100% of the sample, so the 15 interactions. I can edit that. And then what I'm saying is this auditor A has until 15 and auditor B has until 15. So what that means is they are going to pick from the bag and then complete it as they go. If I put proportional, then one is going to have 8 and the other one is going to have 7. If I choose custom, then I can say, what percentage of distribution. And if I put calibration, both have to audit all of the 15, and then they have to figure out, what they are going to do with the agents, right? So I'm going to put proportional, and that's it. That's the last step. I'm going to put confirm, okay? Now, what we've done is we created abilities, subgroups, groups. We created the evaluation format. We know what auditor A and B have to audit, and we know that they now should have in their inboxes, they should have 15 interactions to audit, okay? I'm not auditor A and auditor B, so I don't see this. What I will do, let me check, because I think I have a separate, just a second. Let me check this, okay. Now what I'm going to, is any of you logged with the credentials that I provided? Just to check if I can use one of those, so I can show you what the auditor says. Let's see, auditor, I'm going to log as auditor A, okay? Okay, so I'm now logged as auditor A. This, and do you see that I only see the audit inbox, auditor evaluation, and I see provision in here? Okay, let me come here to the inbox and let me see. I don't remember the audio that I uploaded. What is it from? Let's see. Okay. So the metadata, right, of those interactions, it has the date of the interactions, right? So when you do the evaluation plan, you usually will not have this issue because people audit, some, stuff that they have live. In this case, because this is a training environment, I have audios that are more than 6 months old, right? So what you saw is I logged as an auditor A. I looked for the period of the interactions, and then I didn't see anything, and that is because it was filtered by today. So what I did is I said, okay, show me all of the interactions that I have to audit from this day to today. Okay, and this is how the 8 interactions that I have to audit are showing up here. So let me put 15. Remember that when I did the split, I put that this was going to be proportional. So since they are odd, then 8 interactions went to auditor A, and then 7 interactions went to auditor B, right? All of these interactions, when the auditor gets them in the inbox, they will show as something to do, to complete. They are pending. And what it will say is, okay, this is the interaction ID. This is the evaluation plan name, which is the one that we created. This is a new interaction that you have to work today. The campaign of that interaction is this name. The agent of this interaction is this. This is a voice interaction. This is the timing. And this is the interaction date, okay, and status and so on. Okay, so let's suppose that I'm auditor A and I have to start evaluating. So I have the three dots over here. I will have to come here and evaluate, right? Here, there's the counter, just to count for the time that the auditor is working on this. Okay, total qualification until now is 0 because I have to go ahead and say if this has been met or not met. So they will get the interaction. There is no sentiment analysis in here. There are no queries over here. But here is the audio. So what is the exercise that the auditor has to do? They can, use the volume over here to regulate. They can play the audio, they can stop the audio, they can rewind and, move forward. They can download the audio, they can download the transcript of these. They can, print or put any text in the audio, right? So this is the actual audio of the call. Unfortunately, I don't have samples in English. I was asking for transcriptions in English, but we don't have. Sorry about that. But here is where you will see the transcript of that interaction that you have, and then you will be able to listen to the audio and then read the transcript and take a look at all of the things that you as an auditor need to take a look at. Okay, so here is the evaluation frame, right? The panel of the evaluation. So basically, what you will have to say is yes or no, right? So spelling name of the company, it weighs to 12.5, is a manual activity. And what I have to do is I have to check, did they mention the company name? So if they mention the company name, I will put yes, and then the qualification will rise up. And and so on. So did the agent state the full name and last name? Yes. Did the agent confirm that they understood the question? No, they did not ask for confirmation that they had understood. Perhaps the client was too clear, the agent didn't ask or restate the question to make sure that he has understood. So I'll put no. Did he offer a solution? Yes. Did he ask, is there anything else I can do for you? And I will put yes, but no. I'm going to show you something that I forgot to show you, but we can do that right away. What happens if I have to check this? See how the question is spelled? It says, did the agent ask? And it's between quotes, right? Is there anything else I can help you with? So this, I did it on purpose, and then I forgot to, to do what I wanted to do with this. So if there is a specific phrase that needs to be spelled exactly as it is written by process or by protocol, then it's always good to allow for the auditor to have a free form where they can put comments. For example, let's suppose that the agent did ask if there was anything I can help with, but they didn't spell it exactly as in the protocol, and it was mandatory. Was there any question? Sorry. I thought some of you wanted to make a question. So did you see that there are some protocols where you have to spell something exactly as in the script, right? So what happens if the guy does, but they don't do it exactly as in the script? So you will put yes, but you can make a comment if you had designed this form with a free form for the auditor's comment, right? This is not the additional fields that I was showing, it's another thing. So when you create the ability, there is a little item that you can put these accepts comments, right? So what you will do is you will score these as yes or no, but then you will have, as an auditor, you will have a field where you can put comments. Why did you put that this was missed, or, or what, what observations you have. Okay, so we have 4 groups over here, but only 3 of them were
3.91.
met. Is there any question, or is just that the Microsoft, the microphone is open? Is the microphone right? I think so. Okay. Okay, good. So this is all about manual evaluation. So I'm going to show you that. Is there any question or anything that is not clear so far that you would like to see? Okay, I'm going to move on. So to remember that we have the time evaluating clock over here, right? So you can discard this evaluation if you started to have doubts or, for anything, you can discard this and this will still show open or new, so it will not be closed. You can confirm what you just did, or you can save as draft. Let's suppose that somebody's calling your manager, whatever, you can save as draft, okay? And then complete the evaluation later. So the clock will stop, and then whenever you retake the audit, it will keep counting. Okay, so I'll put confirm over here, where it says no evaluation found. Okay, so I think I might have clicked twice. Let me see, how many do I have? I think that might be a bug. Just bear with me for a moment. Let me put yes, yes, no, yes, yes. Okay. So is there anyone logged as auditor A or auditor B and doing this along with me? Is it possible that there is somebody logged in the system?
No, not me.
Nobody? Okay, there's a bug here. I'll need to check on that because it's not being removed from here. Okay, I'll have to check on this and see why it's not letting me. But basically what has to happen is it has to flag it as complete. And once it's complete, then you should move on with the next one, right? So this is basically what the auditors will see. Nothing else than that. The only thing that they have to do is they need to be explained what the questions are and what the protocol is and how they can listen to the audio and how they are going to score the interactions and all of the evaluations. And as they go ahead and keep, let me just do another try with this one and see if it has the same error. Sorry for that. It's just that if it's an error, I need to report it right away. Otherwise, we will not be able to move forward with the others. Let me confirm. No evaluation found. Okay. Okay, I have two things to report. Sorry that you have to see this. I'm going to work on this with the project team, and there's this other stuff. Here, what it says is see item. But actually, when I'm, first of all, it's in Spanish, even when I'm working in English, and it's not doing anything. Sorry about that. This should be a bug, and this should be corrected. So apologies for that. Okay, so basically, this is what the auditor will do. We'll come back to the auditor stuff. You have this, if you then later log as auditor A or auditor B with the credentials that I provided to you, let me log out. You will see all of those, and you can go ahead and take a look at those, and then you can create. So for you to know, you can go ahead and create abilities in this environment that I gave to you. You can create abilities, you can create groups, subgroups, you can try doing an evaluation format, you can try doing an evaluation plan, and please log the question, because what I'm looking for is I wanted to make mistakes, right? And to have questions so we can, we can test better. Let me do this. Okay, let me log back as an administrator. So that is the auditor. The auditor is only going to see that, right? So they will have an inbox and they will have to start working on the audits, and that's it. What happens if you are working with your client in a hybrid model? They will also see the audits there, but they will not be able to, they will not have exactly to complete the full audit. What they will see is which ones were automatically flagged as met or not met, and they will be able to take a look at that and then approve or request for a modification of the audit. So in the next session, we're going to work on a hybrid one because I wanted to see how that works. But let me show you this that I had forgotten to show you. Remember this case that I said you can create an ability, for example, closing call, right? So for example, closing call, let's suppose that I want to edit this ability because I started working on that. Okay, so what it says is this is being used in an evaluation format, right? Basically, if I modify this now that is being used, what it's telling me is you will not be able to see the modification in the current format that you're using, right? But do you see this little field here? When I created this ability, actually, I didn't enable these accept comments. These accept comments, let me show you something. If I create an ability, for example, closing with question from script, right? For example, some agent is using closing script correctly. So let's suppose that this client has the script and they have to absolutely say the phrase that is being included in the script. I can put these accept comments, and what will happen is that when the auditor is auditing, let's suppose that the agent said what is in the script, but he didn't say it correctly. What I will be able to do is I will put no, and I will say, no, the agent did make the question, but he didn't use the script, blah, blah, blah. Or I can put yes, but need to let the agent know that they need to use the script correctly or whatever, right? So I'm making any example, but you will be able to do this for the auditor to be, free to put some comments in there. So in fact, it's a best practice to put accept comments when the evaluation is a manual evaluation. Otherwise, the agent is just like a machine, right? They have to put yes, no, and that's it. Okay. What happens if you create an ability? We didn't do this, but what happens if you create an ability that is qualitative? If the ability is qualitative, what is going to happen is that it is not going to have a score. It's going to be just yes or no, right? Those are barely used on that. Usually people tend to use scoring for that. But what I will do is I will send you an example as the one that we use, as the word that I used for you, so you can check how to create one with a qualitative ability, right? So we can test on that as well. But I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you this one, right? And the same with not applicable. I want to make sure that we use one with not applicable, because if the qualification type is quantitative and I put not applicable, then I will be able to distribute the weight of that question that does not apply, right? So for example, if the question weights 10%, but in one of the audits, that question is not applicable, then that 10% needs to be distributed among the rest of the abilities that I'm working, right? Whether if it's whereas if it's qualitative, I will not be able to do that because there's no score to distribute. Okay. Okay, so let me cancel this and let me start working on, I think you definitely want to see automated audits, right? If I'm not wrong, because I do want to show you how to do that, because you might want to have a client with that. And also you have transcriptions over here, so you will be able to test this. And I wanted you to start working on that. When you work on an evaluation format that you want not to be worked out by human auditors, but automatically, when you create it, right? So let's put P. We will not have to close on this today, but let's start with this. Agent audit. Let's put automatic audit, right? Let's put 80 as the minimum acceptance mark. Okay, I want to start from scratch for an automatic, I forgot to see over here, for an automatic audit, right? So I want this to be completely run automatically and to, flag all of the interactions that I have in the sample without using any human intervention, right? So I'm going to choose, again, forget about the manual / automatic. This is automatic. I want to do an automatic evaluation. And what's going to happen here? When I come here and add groups, I will not be able to use the groups that I just created, right? I will not be able to use this P solution offering because this is a manual. So when I go down, so let me show you that so we can see the error. Solution offering subgroup, and let's see what happens when I go to create the ability offering. Do you see? I know that the ability was agent offer solution or offering solution or something like that. When I type the ability, it's not going to find it because the ability that I created was a manual ability. It was to be scored manually. It doesn't have any query to automatically identify from the transcript if the agent offered a solution, right? So what I have to do when I work on an evaluation format that I want it to be run automatically, I have to go ahead and I have to create abilities that are automated, right? How do we do that? Let me cancel this. Okay. Cancel. There we go. It was a little spoiled. Okay. So you saw that I can use the groups, I can use the subgroups, but the abilities, when you create an ability, if you remember, when you create an ability, you have two tabs over here in the configuration, if it's manual or if it's automatic, right? If it's manual, it's just as is, right? So I put that if it's met, then it's 100%. If it's not met, if it's 0%, this is just, to assign the score. And I didn't say this, but let me say it. I think it's important to know. There are negative abilities, right? So let's suppose that you have your client identifying bad behaviors or something like that. It's not very usual, it's not very common, but it could be that the client comes and say, I want to see if my agent used an appropriate word, for example, right? If the response is yes, your agent used an inappropriate word or an appropriate phrase or whatever, then these should be 0, right? And no should be 100, because what you're looking is that your agent doesn't say any of that. So if the finding is true, then the score should be 0, and then the no should be 100, right? That is absolutely resolved when you are working on automatic abilities, right? What is an automatic processing of an ability? You're looking for something like, for example, agent used bad words, whatever, right? Agent used wrong with client. Okay. So the agent used bad words when speaking, right? So I could I will not put exact comments because this is going to be used in an automatic way. But basically, to identify if your agent used bad words, there's a way that you have to work beforehand. So you need to know which those bad words are, right? So let's suppose that you have a list of 15 words that you know that the client should never say, right? So you will have to go ahead and build a query. I don't know, let me see if there is something. I'm using any example over here, right? So there is a query that has been used in the past, right? And I'll show you how to create a query. But there will be a query, a linguistic query that will look for expressions such as, and then there will be the list of the words that the agent should not say, right? So if you're using this, what you want to identify is, are these questions from this list spelled in the transcript of this agent? And so if the answer is yes, then I'm going to download downgrade the score of that audit, right? Because this is a negative ability. But if I were to create an ability that is, did the agent use the correct script, for example, and the query looks for the script and finds the script, then this is not going to be a negative ability, right? These are two exercises that we're going to do on the next session. I want to create an exercise for quality abilities. I want to create an exercise for automatic audits with positive and negative abilities, right? But basically, when you want the audit to be run automatically, you have to create a query or you have to create a model to detect something, right? Let me show you very briefly. I will confirm. Are you accepting, right? All of the ones. Naji, there you goes. Oh, sorry, Rehan. Yeah, Mohammed. Yeah, you had a question? I see your
Yes,
hand
I did
raised.
have a question,
Sure,
Mariam.
sure.
So
Yep.
just a step back regarding the manual audit that we are doing, right? I
Yes,
have a
yes.
question regarding, let's say, as an auditor, I have done an audit for one agent. I want
Yes.
the agent to review the mistakes or the comments that I
Oh,
made regarding that particular call or whatever the
yeah.
audit that I have
What
done.
question?
Yes. Is there a possibility that we can do that, or the agent can view
Yeah.
the quality or the audit that we have done for the agent?
Yes, yes. There is. We will not have time to see that today because I didn't create
Okay.
any user for that. But do you see that here it
But
says
then let's say
quality
our
agent?
VCC is connected, right? So let's say the VCC is connected, so
Yeah,
the agent who's under the OCC, can she or he review
yeah,
or view the
they will
comments
see
that we
it.
have made
They
at the
actually receive
quality?
it, but they don't receive it in the inConnect or the LCC. They will
Okay.
have a user here. They will have a
Okay.
user that is an agent user, and they will receive those audits in the system, and they will be able to review, and they will be able to provide comments and so on. In fact, there is something. Uh, you made me remember that, and I didn't have as part of the training, but it's important. Let me take note of this training review.
Because we
There
would really
is
want the,
there's a coaching. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you need that. There's a thing that the auditor does, which is coaching, right? So you can put comments in the audit, and then once you put the comments in the audit, the agent receives that audit, and they review that. They see the comments, and they can even commit to improving whatever the auditor found, right? So there's a place. I didn't show it today, unfortunately, because did you see that when I wanted to approve the audit, it gave me
Yes,
an
I
error.
did notice that,
So
right?
I couldn't advance, but I'm going to take a look at that to see if the team can correct that. And we can see that because it's super important. And I didn't have as an item to show. And now that you said, I realize it's super important. The agent is going to receive it. There's a place where the auditor can coach the agent, and then the agent can commit to something, and all of that gets in the history of the audit. So we're going to cover that. Let's see if we can cover that at the beginning of next session, and then we move ahead with the rest. And there's also, I need to check how they did it from a product perspective, but I think that the agent also receives an email confirmation, but
Yes, that was my
I'm not
next
sure how that is
question.
working. Yeah, yeah, I think
Yes.
they do. I think they do. Let me test that, and we can show it in the next session. So thank you for the question because it's important to have it. Thank
Yes,
you,
Mariam. One
Rehan.
more question I have regarding
Sure,
that.
sure.
What if I would like to, export the report of all the quality? Let's say, as an auditor today, I
Yeah,
have done
yeah.
10 audits today, right? I want to extract those reports and I want to push that to our reporting tool, which is, let's say, it's a Power BI. So, is there any possibility that there is an extract option for the
Yeah,
auditors to?
there is. So you have this report section. I'm not sure, but hopefully I didn't, so Sebastian couldn't meet today at this time, but let's see if he can come on the next one, because you do have the reports, right? So you have the detailed reports and the summary reports, right? So the summary, just the basic information, and then the detailed reports, which, have all of the details. So when you click run, you have to have an administrator role for this, right? Or like the supervisor role that I created for you, right? So you will be able to filter by evaluation format. That will be the mandatory field, right? So let's suppose that I want to run, why don't I have any in the list over here? Let me see. I think this is related to the other issue that we saw. Okay, let me see this. 1 second. Let me put a date, because something is misbehaving today. Let me put this. Evaluation, yeah, but it's not letting me. There is something wrong today with the environment. So basically you can come here, and I think this is because they are working on this on the real time. But there's basically these two reports, which is the detail and the summary. You basically only have to select the evaluation format, which today, as you can see, is not working. But I think this is because this is a testing environment and they are doing stuff, right? But basically you have to select the evaluation format and make more filters if you need. You can even select by auditor, which is what you're looking for. And you can even select by agent if the case is that, there are supervisors who want to see reports for the new joiners, or the agents with a performance improvement, like I was saying before. But basically you get the report and then you can export the report. It's not
Perfect.
working. It's not working. I'm sorry about that. I'm
It's
going
fine.
to
We can
spend
do
some
that in
time
the
with the
next
product
session.
team. Yeah, or if you have your test environment, then you should be able to see that in your environment, which hopefully is working correctly. But then in the next session, this should be all solved, okay? But yes, you can extract the data. What I don't know is, and for that we would need Sebastian, is the format of that data is compatible with whatever you want to do on Power BI. And my guess is yes, because any of the data that we extract from any of the other applications and the platforms, they are all compatible with Power BI and with BigQuery and some other stuff used for BI, right? So I think the answer is yes, but I don't have any references of that. So let's see what Sebastian can help us with. Okay, and thank you for the questions. Okay, so analytics. Next week I can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're all able to make it. In analytics is where you create the queries or the models to be used automatically in the evaluation audits, right? So this is the case where you won't have any human auditor to do the audits, or you have human auditors, but the amount of interactions is so big that you want to isolate the ones that you want the human auditors to take a look at, right? So let's suppose that you have 1,000 interactions. You would rather to have them audited automatically, and for all of those ones who have had a score below X number, then you want the human auditor to take a look at those so they can go ahead and coach the agents, right? So let's suppose that we have one of those scenarios. So for that automation to take place, what you have to do is, instead of having the human auditor looking for the appropriate words, the scripting, complied with these and mention these other stuff, et cetera, what you will do is you will create queries to find out if that you're looking is found or not found from the transcript, right? Because remember, you have the interactions. If they are text interactions, then all of the analysis is going to be done through the text, right? Like the WhatsApp, SMS, and so on. But if you have voice interactions, which are the usual case, that will go through the transcription first, and then from the transcript, they are going to be analyzed. How do they get analyzed? you have two ways: queries, which are generic, and then you have models, right? The NLU models. So the queries are to find specific stuff. For example, let's say that I want to find the word thank you. Okay, thank you for contacting P, for example, right? And then agent says, thank you for contacting P, whatever. Okay, so the only thing that I want the automation to look for is that the agent says this phrase, right? And then basically I can create a query, and the query is going to be like a linguistic query, right? When you're programming or something like that. So first of all, there's no operator because you're starting. So the starting point is you put the parentheses, and then you start talking about, okay, what's the query that I want to take a look at? And then I want to look for, I don't know, the agent text, and it's called text because remember, it either is the text of the conversation or the transcription of the voice conversation, right? So I want to look in the agent text, and that's the scope for the search. Text, which value is thank you for contacting me. And then that's it. I close this, I add this, and then I create the syntax, which is going to look something like this, right? So basically, I now have a query that says, thank you for contacting P. So I could use this as an ability, right? So I can go create an evaluation format, which group is agent thanks, and then the subgroup is agent uses the correct phrase, and then the ability will be this ability, will be an ability that agent said, thank you for contacting P. And the ability, because it's an automatic ability, it will not be something that the auditor will have to take a look at. It will have a query attached, right? So I created this query, and this is just to close. I know we're at the top of the hour, but I created this query, right? Okay, so I created this query. It's okay. It's telling me that the syntax is correct, is correctly spelled. And then when I start working on the abilities for that particular automation, what I will say is, okay, I want to use this ability. And because it is automatic, it's going to take a look at the query that I just created, right? And so I will put confirm. I know that I did it quickly, but don't worry. We will see this in the next session. But basically, what will happen with this is when I go to create the evaluation format, I will just put the ability and that's it. That's all what I have to do. Then when I put that evaluation plan in process, it will not go to any auditor. What it will do is it will start running the transcription of the interactions and the queries of those transcriptions to find if the agent said, thank you for contacting P, right? So I wanted to close with this to start the topic of automated evaluations. What I will do is the same way that I provided you with that word with an exercise. I have 3 or 4 more exercises. We'll cover on how the agent receives the evaluation, how the auditor can coach the agent. We'll cover on the reports, which are not working today, unfortunately, and we'll do 2 exercises on automatic evaluations. So I'll send the invite for you. It could be that one of the days we need to push to a little later because Sebastian is practically sleeping at the time that we start meeting. But I want him to be with us on one of the sessions so we can cover some of the stuff that I cannot cover because of my profile, okay? If you have questions between today and the next week, please feel free to send them in advance so I can take a look at that and we can make the best of a session. And last thing is I will send you the two recordings in a few minutes. I have to download today's recording and then be able to send the links to all of you, okay? And remember that with the users that I created for you, the supervisor A, supervisor B, you can go ahead and create other users, right? Let's not create 100, but for example, you can create one with the role of agent if you want to start looking at how it looks like, okay? Are we good?
Hi,
I'll take it
Miriam.
as a yes. Hi, Naji, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to hop in and ask about the VCC and the QM thing. If there is any news about that.
No, I was saying at the beginning, I didn't get any news, and Mohammed was telling me that they didn't get any update neither. The problem we have is I'm in the training department, so I have no view of whatever they are doing on the sales side or in the project side. What I know is that basically what Mohammed Kelsey was saying, right? So basically, if you want to keep one environment, then you may want to delete the one that you have and then create the other one. But the thing is that the new one for the client that you have to go through projects, right? You have to go through your sales executive, and then they have to ask for that to the project team, and then they have to start working on that. But the thing is that me being in training, I really don't have a visibility of that. So I don't know if they started already. I know that Franco was behind that, and he was pushing for that to be resolved, but I have no visibility of that. So what I committed is I'm going to have a call with Franco and see if I can, get in a call with you and get this resolved. So, but unfortunately, I have no news about that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, but it's just would be great if we can have a timeline very soon on that, because we're starting commercial launch pretty soon, and we need some buffer to be able to
Okay.
give
When
the
is
knowledge
this
that you've given us
client?
to our quality.
Right.
I think
So,
it's in about a week or so.
oh, yeah. It's super fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me
So when it comes to the
have a
quality
call with.
officers, yeah, we're gonna be training them on the go with the launch. So
Okay. Good. Let me talk to Franco about that and ask him to have a call with you as soon as possible.
that would be great. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Then I'll work on all of those committed. Yeah, Rehan, tell
Yes,
me.
sorry, one last question I have is, can the auditors audit live calls?
Okay. That is real-time audits. Not yet, not as of yet, but they are working on that. They are actually testing right now on that new version on real-time audit. I don't have the live date for that release, but they are testing that. So they've been working on this for a long time already, and their release should be coming soon, but not yet. They can listen to all of the recordings. As you could see, did you see when I was, playing as an auditor? You will be able to listen to the recording. In fact, if you log now as an auditor, you will be able to listen to the recordings. It will be awkward for you because they are in Spanish. Because, in fact, if you have any way to find English recordings, then that would help, because I don't have. But real time is the next release. I don't have the date. Yes, they have not shared that, but they are testing and it's working. I hear that is working that is working right. So as soon as it get released, I'll make sure that you are trained on that and you know how to use it. Did you see that when we were on the reporting stuff, there was some real time reporting for details and for summary, and that is because they are working on the real time stuff. So that should be coming soon.
Perfect.
Hey, gentlemen, I'm going to work on the committed stuff. Let me have a call with Franco so he can get in touch with you as soon as possible, okay? Thank you so much for your time today. See you next week. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Have